What's up, guys? This video is going to be my top 10 fall bass fishing baits. If you guys want to know how the tournament went, if it was a good day, there would be a video already, but it was a bad day, so there isn't going to be a video. So an alternative, there's going to be this video. So, I'm playing flag football now, so my schedule might get a little messed up. So, just get you guys that. So yeah, let's get started. This is going to be in some type of order. So first off, it's going to be a topwater bait. It could be a walking bait, a popper, a frog, any type of bait you want. That's on the top. Basically, you just use this in the morning and the evenings because that's when bass or stripers, whatever, are going to be roaming around looking for some fat shad, yummy shad to pig out for the winter time, because in the winter time their metabolism slows down, so they want to get fat. So because in the winter everything cools down, like bass don't want to move, crawfish, shad just die and just not cool. So they want to get fat so they don't have to really eat a lot when in the winter, because they'll lose a lot of energy, and losing a lot of energy means losing a lot of fat, and you get skinny and then you die. So number one is gonna be, I already said it's gonna be a walking, or just some kind of a bait, topwater bait. Okay, so it's actually gonna be either a soft jerk bait or a jerk bait, or a fluke, whatever you want to call it. This is a Lucky Craft Pointer 100. You guys could use the 110, but I like the 100 because it's smaller. But there's a bit disadvantage. There's one less hook on here, and a 110 has two or three actually. So basically, you just cast it out there, make a long cast. So you just jerk it back in, and what it does is just darts really fast. And then you basically do that, and you pause it. You jerk, pause, jerk, pause. You can mix it up. Jerk, one jerk, two jerk, three jerk, and however much you want. That's basically how you fish it, and you also pause it. And when you pause it, that's usually when the fish is gonna slam that thing like they freaking drove a truck into this. So, and if there's too much grass for a hard jerk bait, then use this, because Texas rig, it'll get through pretty easy, or easier, because it's weedless. Just look at that, and you just fish it the same, but you don't pause it. You maybe pause it for like a half a second or however much you want, because this has no weight whatsoever. So you're just jerking it. It might go on the surface, maybe like that much from the surface, like right there, that much. This is the surface, and this is where the bait might be. So cast it out there. Just keep jerking it. When that does, it just darts everywhere. It darts to New York, to Texas, wherever. And then that's how you fish a fluke. That's number two. These two were together. And at number three, let me just look for it. I got kind of lost. Alright. Crankbait. It could be a lipless, a medium diver, shallow diver, whatever. But let me just go over this one first. Ow! Okay, that hurt. This is a Rapala shad wrap. It's like a glass shad wrap. So you basically just want to crank this thing in and occasionally pause it. So, just crank it in, pause it. Just crank, pause. You could jerk it. It's not going to be as erratic as a hard jerk bait, but it'll kind of just dart like that, and then kind of just slowly move. But it's not going to be as erratic as hard jerk bait. With how small this is, and just the profile of it, this can imitate a shad very, very freaking well. Like, just look at it. It's translucent. It's got a prism in there, and you guys know most bait fish do have that, like a kind of like a shine, a prism shine to it. If you guys can't see it, and it's a lot of bait fish are translucent because of how thin they are. So just basically, you could jerk it, you could crank it, whatever. So, and the next is a Lipless Crankbait, in that same category. Rip it out of grass. You could just crank it in and then give it a pop. See, I learned this off of Scott Martin. See, when you're cranking it, you're just gonna hear this, just this right here, and then they're just, most of the time they're gonna be hearing that all the time. So if you just crank it and then give it like a quick pause, it'll just be like crank it and then like that, and then stop, and then, you know, once you jerk it, you're knocking slack into your own line. So because you're gonna jerk it and then you're gonna reel back down, and then that's just gonna, the rattles are gonna stop, and then you're gonna reel back in and then have it back like that. So maybe that didn't make any sense to you guys, but you know, that's what it's gonna do. So it'll just be cranking and then like a jerk, and it'll stop the rattles silent and go back to that retrieve. So yeah, that's the hard bait section. Next is gonna be a spoon. Now a spoon is great on schooling fish in summertime deep water, but a lot of times there's too much grass to fish this, and most of the time bass will be suspended on a tree or a rock pile, and then this will just get stuck. So the key places I like to spoon is like a hump where there's like it's just clean bottom, like a hump, and then just drop it, sink. When it hits the bottom, you just jerk it up, and then this imitates a bass, a dying shad, sorry. Really, really good. So, you know, flutter spoon. Alright, next will be a swim jig, or or what is this? Just a jig head on a swim bait. So I like to use a swim jig when there's like when you're fishing around more cover. So because there's a weed guard on it, and you guys could see obviously this does not. You can fish this around trees, weeds, and just, you can fish this in a lot more places than you fish this right here, because this will get hung up and caught on weeds and stuff. This one will cut right through it. You could use braid on this. If you're fishing through grass, use braid, because if you use fluorocarbon and you see that you guys cut the tag end, and then there's like a little nudge sticking out, that'll catch grass. It'll get inside the knot, and then grass will get on it. So if you guys are fishing it through grass, then use braid. Plus, because it's green, then depending on what color, most of the time it's green, then they're not gonna really see it inside the grass. Otherwise, just use black. So swim jig. You could also slow roll this on the bottom. So like I said, you know, I didn't say this, but cast it out there, let it sink to the bottom, pop it hard, and then just start your retrieve all the way back with your rod tip down, and do like a moderate pace speed. And I also like to use this for a slimmer profile, because with the skirt on it, this thing, it makes it a lot more bulky. And this one without the skirt, it just makes it a lot more subtle than a jig, swim jig. So you just basically, you can slow roll it when you don't have too much cover. You can fish on the edge of weed lines and just make sure you don't get caught. And straight fluorocarbon is the way to go. 12 pound fluorocarbon. Alright, jig. There's many ways you can fish it. Let me see how much time I've recorded. 8 minutes. Okay, so I gotta make sure I don't get to 10. So jig, you can stroke it, you could drag it, but there's many ways to fish it. You could flip it in the cover of some heavy braid or heavy fluorocarbon. Many ways to fish this. And this is a dirty jigs HP flipping jig. So stroking a jig, you let it sink to the bottom, and then you just jerk it really hard, and it just kind of lays on the ground, and then pops, and then pops again. And then most of the time you'll get bit when you're stroking it is when it's falling, and it'll just nail it when it's falling. So stroking and then dragging is when you just cast it out and let it just drag it. You hear people say, oh, you drag it, you'll feel if there's rocks, trees, whatever. But honestly, I don't feel if it's trees, rocks. It could be anything. It could be your friend's car. It could be a sunken boat. It could whatever. But just drag it, and then you'll feel structure there, and you know those fish there. You know there will be fish there, and you could drop this next bait in. And this was the jig. Next is the drop shot. You could drop, like I was saying, you could drop the drop shot into where that structure is, because most of the time there will be some fish there. So drop shot's great. I I like to get deeper suspending fish with this bait right here, because a lot of times you see a 10-pounder. They don't really like to move because they're fat and they don't want to get smaller like a 2-pounder. So drop that in front of their face with maybe a bigger worm, because this is just a snack to them. So maybe like a 7-inch worm, drop shotted. That'll be great for a freaking 10-pound bass. So basically you just cast it out there or pitch it, whatever, and you just do that the whole time. And what it does, it just gives it a bunch of freaking action. It just does that the whole time. So that's number 2. And when all else fails, you guys know it. It's the Yamamoto Senko. I like to fish it Texas rig, but you can fish it any other way, wacky weighted Texas rig, whatever you want. This is the basic 5-inch watermelon red Senko. You could fish it like a Fluke also, might as well, because you could just get a white Fluke, like a white 3-inch, 4-inch Senko Texas rig, weightless Texas rig, and you just jerk it, and it has the same action as that. Not just kind of the same. It'll kind of just do the thing too, you know. It'll just jerk and just be erratic, just do its job like that. But if you want to fish basic, cast it out there, let it sink to the bottom, and it just does that the whole time. Sinks to the bottom, you just pull it up slowly. Or you could, you know, jerk it how Lunker Stevie does it. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Please be sure to give this video a like, a comment, and subscribe. I don't know how to do an S. Live streams every Saturday. 1 video up a week. And hopefully you guys, if you guys did get to this, guys, I forgot one bait. Big swim bait. You cannot rule this magical thing out. Because it's big, bass tend to want to eat this because they're trying to pick up. They don't really see anything too big around there, as in forage, depending on where you're at. You could have 3-pound gizzard shad or whatever, but something big is what they're keying on, because they wanna get picked up fast. So they'll freaking slam this thing. See, when bass, when they eat bait fish, you think they just gulp it up in once, but if it's big like this, they're gonna just hit it like that, and what that does, it stuns them, and it just makes it a lot easier than having to chase it around, and then you're just gonna hit it, and it's just gonna be stunned there, not move for 2 seconds, and then whoop, it just chokes the freaking thing. But since this S Waver has some sticky sharp hooks, it'll get slapped, and then you'll get fish on. So yeah, I forgot one bait. Peace out.